What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Cinema Essentials. This episode is titled Tonight because the group has to escape immediately due to the guard, Bellic, discovering the hole in the guard's break room and other problems. If you're ready, let's start with Season 1, Episode 20. I'm your host, Theo. After discovering the hole in the guard room, Bellic is hit with a shovel by D.B. Cooper, who has entered the room, and is told he won't be allowed to leave. Bellic and D.B. Cooper get into a fight. Bellic pushes D.B. Cooper onto a dining table, which breaks a glass. D.B. Cooper gets the upper hand and hits Bellic over the head with a gas canister, knocking him out. D.B. Cooper feels a sharp pain in his stomach and looks down to see a piece of the broken glass stuck in his abdomen. T-Bag sees the guards walking with dogs and says that the reason people always get recaptured after escaping is because of those damn dogs. He says that no matter how far people run, they can't get rid of the scent they leave on their blankets and pillows. T-Bag is right, so the group realizes they have to get rid of the smell on all their bedding, blankets, and pillows. While they're all discussing this, D.B. Cooper arrives, pushing a garbage can, and tells them they need to escape immediately. He doesn't know how Bellic found the hole, but says he covered it up as best he could. He says they only have time until the guards notice Bellic is missing. Scofield asks what he means by missing, and D.B. Cooper explains that he tied Bellic up, taped his mouth shut, and put him in the hole. After arguing for a bit, Scofield says there's no other choice. Although it's not the right time, they will escape as soon as it gets dark. He tells Abruzzi to arrange a plane for that night, and C-Note, who has been to the kitchen before, to get as much floor cleaner and peroxide as he can. Scofield takes responsibility for getting the infirmary key, and the rest of the group is told to find whatever they can to get rid of their scent. He lays out the plan. After dinner, at exactly 7 p.m., when all the cell doors are open, they'll leave his cell one by one. They'll have 1 hour to escape the prison and get as far away as possible. Walking back to the cell block, Sucre mentions that Scofield hasn't talked about his brother, Lincoln, and says Lincoln is under 24-hour watch. Sucre says that if Lincoln isn't freed tonight, they'll have to go without him, which makes Scofield think. After tracking the phone numbers, Nick, Savran, and Veronica, they discover a $2 million houseboat in Montana. They investigate further with the help of a friend and find out the organization that bought the house is funded by a company owned by Terrence Stedman. They decide to go to Montana to investigate. In the dining hall, the guards are asking each other if they've seen Bellic since he's never been late in 8 years. C-Note overhears this and says that their situation doesn't look good, and Scofield tells him to hurry and get the floor cleaner from the kitchen. T-Bag goes from table to table, collecting things like bean sprouts, eggplant, and fish paste. Scofield stops in front of Tweena, who is sitting alone with a food tray, and says the plan has changed and they're escaping tonight. He tells Tweena not to ask any other questions and to find Sucre, who will tell him what to do. In Caroline's office, people from the company that funds her campaign arrive and demand she do what they want, including voting a certain way. They warn her to forget about running for president if she can't deliver. Scofield is waiting in the infirmary when he tries to talk to Dr. Sarah Tancredi. She cuts him off, saying she's tired of his lies, and asks if he wants drugs or needles. Scofield says he never intended to drag her into this, and that he's there to tell her something. He tells her that he's going to escape with his brother and needs her help. He explains that he tried to tell her father, the governor, but the people who framed Lincoln are so powerful that the governor can't do anything. He says he's not asking her to break the law, but only to forget to lock the infirmary door when she leaves that night. Sarah asks if he plans to escape through that room. Scofield explains that the glass door has a silent alarm, and that's why he needs her help. Sarah asks if everything has been a pretense. Scofield admits that it started as a pretense for his escape plan, but that he later genuinely wanted to see her. He says it hurts more knowing that she won't believe him no matter what he says. Sarah says nothing and walks out the door. Abruzzi calls his friend, who arranges planes, and tells him the plan has changed, and he needs a plane arranged for tonight. The friend agrees and says he'll hide a car about 200 yards from a ruined factory on Fitz Road. Veronica is busy on the phone arranging plane tickets for Montana when Abruzzi calls Nick Savran and tells him the plan has changed. He tells Nick to bring Veronica to the airport tonight. As the guards enter the cell block, Scofield watches them carefully while working. Bellick, who is in the pipe, can hear everything the guards are saying. He's tied up with his mouth taped, and he tries to yell, but no one hears him. He waits for the guards to leave and looks at his watch. It's after 2 p.m. Tweena approaches a guard and asks if he's seen Bellick, saying he needs to talk to him. The guard responds, "Do I look like Bellick's mother?" D.B. Cooper, seeing Tweena talking to the guard, calls out for him to come help. While working, C-Note approaches Scofield and asks if he noticed the two foxes in his chicken coop, referring to the two inmates, the half-breed and the ghost. Scofield says they both want to escape and he can control the situation. C-Note holds up a knife and says, "Look, I took this from Teabag yesterday." He says if he had been 10 seconds late, Abruzzi would have been in the morgue. He tells Scofield to listen to him and manage the situation to escape tonight, or they'll have to deal with a lot more problems. Katie tells Sarah, who is standing by a shelf in the infirmary, that some documents from the district have arrived. Sarah says she's sorry, but she has to go somewhere and asks Katie to do them. In the PI locker room, D.B. Cooper throws away his blood-stained shirt and puts on a new one. Scofield tells the others to wear their PI uniforms under their jumpsuits, because since they don't have white shirts, they'll have to make these white. As the group walks out in a line, a guard stops them and says he found bloodstains in the locker room and asks what they've been doing. Scofield calmly scrapes his hand with a small blade he has in his pocket and says the blood is his, from scraping his hand while putting away construction materials. They're allowed to continue. Scofield asks D.B. Cooper if he's okay, and D.B. Cooper says he'll be fine until tonight's escape. In her car, Sarah is praying to God and doesn't know what to do about Scofield's situation. The only thing she notices is a bar across the street. In the warden's office, Scofield, who is building the Taj Mahal, takes a small joint block from the middle of a column and hides it when no one is looking. When the warden returns, he exclaims how beautiful it is, saying they should open a bottle of champagne. He tells Scofield he's happy he met him, and that the Taj Mahal wouldn't have been completed so beautifully without him. He says he's indebted to Scofield, and that Scofield can ask him for anything. Scofield asks to see his brother. The two brothers meet in a room. Lincoln talks about the car accident, reuniting with their father, and everything their father told him. Scofield tells him they're escaping tonight because Bellick found the hole, and if they don't escape today, they'll all be caught. Lincoln says to leave him behind because he's chained and cuffed. He says if Scofield stays, he'll die in prison. In the kitchen, while no one is looking, C-Note puts peroxide in a plastic bag and ties it to his leg. A senior inmate approaches him and asks what he's doing. C-Note says he's not doing anything, but the inmate asks if he's stealing the fluid to sell, reminding C-Note that he told him he didn't want to see him in the kitchen. C-Note throws the liquid he's holding on the inmate's face, along with some pork curry, mango pickle, and dried fish paste. Sarah sits looking at a glass of alcohol, unable to decide if she should help Michael, a man taking a risk for love, or act as a hard-working Karen and stand her ground. She notices a news report on TV and listens carefully, hearing that her father, the governor, has denied the request to stop Lincoln Burrows' execution. It's after 4 p.m. Teabag smashes the boiled eggplants, cucumbers, and bean sprouts he collected and rubs them all over the bedding and pillows. Abruzzi spreads the fertilizer and compost he got from PI all over his bed. When his cellmate asks what he's doing, Abruzzi says, "God told me to do this." D.B. Cooper distracts himself from the pain of his injury by scratching on the wall with rocks. With the sound of open 88, Tweena's cell door opens and a guard places some items in his cell, asking who they belong to. Guard says they're for Avocado from the infirmary, and that he'll have plenty of time to bake a cake since he's returning from the infirmary tonight. When the guard asks if he saw Bellick, Tweena is about to answer when he sees Scofield watching him from the other side of the cell block. He says he saw him yesterday, but not today. Tweena asks what to do with the bag of liquid, and Scofield tells him to pour it down the toilet and then bleach the PI uniforms. He says the blue prison uniforms will be too visible at night, and that the mentally ill inmates wear white uniforms, and the peroxide can be used as a bleach. The text skips a conversation between President Richard and Vice President Caroline about politics, saying it would be too long. It jokes that it's like fast-forwarding through a movie's romantic scenes with your family. The warden tells a group of guards that the upcoming anniversary is special and he wants to do something special for his wife. So they're going to lift a chair together. The warden counts to 3, and they lift the chair, causing the Taj Mahal to collapse. The warden immediately tells a guard to go get Scofield. While Sucre and the others are bleaching their clothes, a guard opens their cell door and says Scofield needs to come to the warden's office immediately. As Scofield walks away, Teabag and DB Cooper watch, wondering what's happening. In the pipe, Bellick, who can't move, finds a small metal spike and uses it to saw through the rope tying his hands and feet. While having dinner with her family, Sarah is approached by a group of people. They asks what he can do for them. Sarah asks if she should congratulate him on the news, and he humbly says it's not a big deal. Sarah then asks her father if he looked at the information from Lincoln's lawyer that she gave him. He gives a vague answer, so she asks more forcefully. He responds that it's not necessary because the court will only confirm what they have already found. Veronica, who is preparing to go to Montana, asks Nick Savran what he's doing and if he's arranged a car. Nick pulls a gun from his waistband and says he can't let her go. Veronica realizes he's been a spy this whole time and asks him to look her in the face and tell her who he's working for. The warden calls Bellick's mother, who says Bellick called her that morning to say he was at work. The warden orders someone to check if Bellick's car is in the parking lot and then tells them to bring Scofield to his office. As the escape time gets closer, everyone thinks about their past. Sucre hears his girlfriend's words. Abruzzi, the mafia boss, thinks about the bad things he's done. Teabag looks at a piece of paper with an address on it, thinking about what Susan told him. C-Note thinks about his daughter, Deed, and his wife. Tweena thinks about how Avocado will be back tonight. DB Cooper wants to escape to see his daughter for the last time before she dies, who has cancer. Lincoln Burrows is in a restricted cell, chained and cuffed, for a crime he didn't commit. Sarah Tancredi is walking by a river, thinking about what to do. She found out that her father, the mayor, could have arranged for Lincoln's case to be handled fairly, but he prioritized his political career and signed the death warrant. While the warden is talking about the Taj Mahal for the 146th time, Scofield stares at him calmly. He pulls a small knife from his pocket and says, "Shut up, old man, I'm breaking out of this prison." And that's the end of episode 20. This series will be uploaded daily, so please like and subscribe to the Cinema Essentials channel. We wish all of our viewers happiness and health. Thank you for watching until the end.